Here's a look at the SCUF Infinity4PS Pro controller, and in this video I want to talk specifically about the pros and cons of using this for FPS games. If you play other games, this video should still be helpful, but you'll probably want to swap out the digital triggers for the regular ones. I've been using it for the last few months over my Xbox Elite controller, and it's been performing pretty well, but I do have a few gripes with it. Before I get into that though, I should mention SCUF did not sponsor this video. I bought this controller because I wanted to try something new. So this is my honest review, and here's everything I think you need to know about the SCUF Infinity4PS Pro. First, you should know this controller only works on PC and PS4. It's older, but the PS4 layout is very popular still. Just take a look at Verholst, who won the ALGS Champs this year. He's taking the entire offseason to practice on a PS4 controller over his Xbox controller. He's not using a SCUF though. He's testing one made by Battle Beaver, so leave a comment if you want me to review that one next. Here's what my build looks like, and it cost me $235 including the case. I went with the Teal Faceplate because I almost always go black with my controllers and I wanted to try something fresh. I got the digital triggers on here, which are an extra $25, but these are probably the best part of the entire controller. They feel really similar to clicking a mouse, and I've been able to hit shots a lot faster with single fire weapons. I'm liking these a lot more than the trigger stops on the Elite, because the click gives me a lot more physical feedback that I actually press the button instead of the trigger just stopping at a shorter distance. I got the standard bumpers on here. They also sell digital versions of the bumpers, but I didn't think I needed that fast mouse-like click on bumpers. And I still think that's true, but after using the digital triggers, I kind of regret not putting the digital bumpers on here as well. For the thumbsticks, I went all standard, except for I went domed on the left. That's just a personal preference. One thing to know with these, though, is that you can put control freaks on the SCUF sticks, but they won't work with the domed version, so keep that in mind. I got the blacked out button kit on here, completely unnecessary, and an extra $8, but I thought it looks clean without the button labels. On the back, I got the high performance grips on here. It's an extra $17, but I highly recommend adding them because they feel really great, and I think it helps with sweaty hands when you're playing for a while. I wish I could compare the high performance grips to the military grade grips, so let me know in the comments if you've tried out the military grade. This one's probably an unpopular opinion, but I left the rumbles in. I liked the extra weight that they give to the controller, and I can just turn off the rumble in-game anyway, and it saves me $10. Equally as important as the digital triggers, I think, are the paddles on the back. I spent an extra $10 to get the reactive paddles, and if you're new to this type of controller and are wondering how the paddles work, they map to existing buttons on the controller and give you another way to press them without taking your hands off the thumbsticks. The reason I spent the extra money on the reactive paddles is I like the placement of them a lot more. They feel a lot more natural to press to me. They sent me both types though, so here's what the grip looks like when you're using the reactive paddles, and here's what it looks like using the standard ones. It's not really a huge difference, but to me the reactive paddles feel more like I'm just squeezing the grip, while I feel like I'm reaching for the standard ones. You should know though that this controller only supports 2 panels, so if you want 4, you're going to have to go with something like the SCUF Impact. Honestly though, I've been using the Elite controller for years and I've never wanted to use all 4 paddles. By default, the left paddle on this controller is set to X and the right paddle is set to circle. You can change the button assignment to whatever you want, but you have to buy the EMR key for an extra $15. I really think this is just a magnet though, so you could probably get away with just pulling one off your fridge and sticking it to the back of the controller. I have not tried that yet though. I've been using this controller for a while now, and I think there's a lot to like about it. The digital triggers are fantastic, probably the best triggers I've ever used on any controller. It feels like a really premium controller, and the weight feels great and the size feels great. In my time using it, it's also been extremely responsive in the game. I did get a little stick drift out of the box, but that's when using no dead zone, which I think is expected. Another thing that's fantastic about this controller is that the thumbsticks are easily replaceable. Out of anything on the controller, the thumbsticks get hammered the most, so I really appreciate how easy they made it to replace them. I would like to see some Hall effect sticks as an option, but maybe they're not compatible with the PS4 board and the controller. So overall, I think this is a fantastic controller, but I do have a few gripes with it. Most of them are related to the paddles, but other than that, the start button is flush with the faceplate, so I find myself missing this button a lot. There's no USB-C on this controller, which is pretty annoying, but my main frustration with this controller is the paddles. They're pretty frustrating to change out if you want to swap them, and the paddles are a little bit mushy to press. I'd like to have a little bit more feedback on pressing them, similar to the digital triggers. And a very weird one is that the paddles can be remapped using the EMR key, but not to the up or down buttons on the D-pad. I don't understand that one. And then finally, there's the big question around SCUF build quality. Everywhere I go, I see a ton of comments about how the build quality is terrible on these things. And these are just comments on the internet, so I wanted a little bit more objective proof about the build quality of these things. So I reached out to SCUF and asked them for their failure rates on their controllers, but they have not responded to me. So I don't have a great answer for you on the build quality, but I have not had any problems with mine so far. That's my build of the SCUF Infinity 4PS Pro. I hope this video was helpful, and let me know in the comments if you think this thing is worth the $200 price tag. Thanks for watching.